In the teleprompter challenge, we had to not only walk, but talk at the same time and look into 3 different cameras.
I was basically just doing what other people were doing, just reading out the lines like out loudly to yourself, or a lot of us at some point were taping up the pieces of paper on the wall and just kind of like walking around and just looking at it.
Tag team steel cage match against...
The pressure just gave some extra weight to these shoulders, and I got to clean up. I'm last. So the bar has already been set by my fellow contestants.
We come in the studio, we have to walk down a set of stairs, and we have to face one teleprompter first, and we have to start delivering the script. Then you're supposed to go to the next station where you continue to read off the teleprompter, and then there's a final spot where then you kind of finish off the script and then wait to be kind of called off set.
And Andrea, before we get started, tell them you're going to give 2 cues, one to walk and then one to talk, and they'll be close together. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, walk.
Hey, Hardcore Nation, I'm Gillette Drafted 2 hopeful Sean Francois in the Scores HD studio with your sports update.
When the camera said turn, I kind of got a little nervous or froze, and I kept reading, and my body didn't move when my mind kind of told me I should.
Signing his mark.
That's all from me, Sean Francois, in the Score HD studio. Meet me back here at the top of the hour for your next Gillette Drafted 2 sports update.
I thought I did okay. I definitely did knock it out the park the way I would have liked to have.
Don't forget, this Monday, Raw comes to us from Music City, Nashville, USA.
There was a window where everyone got to watch you, and that could have tripped me out, because you looked straight at them, basically. They're just right off in your peripheral vision.
John Cena, Randy Orton take on Sheamus and Edge in a main event tag team match.
I think I did pretty well. I didn't fumble. I may have mixed a couple words together.
Make sure you also tell your friends that this Score update has been brought to you by the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, turning shaving into gliding.
Man, it was like gym class. But like, wow. There were some people who was like, wow, she killed it, or he killed it.
Hey, poker fans, don't worry. We also have something for you. More matches coming your way this week on the network.
And then there were some people like, I can't watch. I have to turn away.
The superstars of SmackDown are on the air Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. For the first time ever, see The Big Show and Rey Mysterio in a tag team steel cage match.
Other than being nervous, a couple slip-ups, the only thing that I was really upset with myself was at the end. After I said the last word, I'm like, this is over with. I don't have to do this anymore. And I just went to walk away, and she was like, no, stay here. And I was just like, oh. And I like tried to not make a stupid face, like come back and like, but I think it's pretty obvious on the tape that I made a mistake.
As soon as I heard the words teleprompter, I was like, okay, I've done this in school. I can read off a screen. Hopefully this all goes well.
3, 2,
Hey, Hardcore Nation, I'm Gillette Drafted 2 hopeful Meg Morrison in the Scores HD studio with your sports update. That minute and a half went by so fast. Don't forget, this Monday, Raw comes to us from Music City, Nashville, USA. John Cena and Randy Orton take on Sheamus and Edge in a main event tag team match. I stumbled on Sheamus, which was a stupid thing to stumble on, and I think I just could have been more energetic about it.
Hey, Hardcore Nation, this is Gillette Drafted 2 hopeful Rick Torelli coming to you live from the Scores HD studio with your sports update.
I'm a regular watcher of the Score, like I would say minimum 10 times a day I'm on the update, so I had a pretty familiar vibe to how it's done.
Ray 3.
But that's not the only fighting action that'll come your way.
Ray 2, take.
Rick had a little bit of trouble as far as where he needed to be.
You can join Morrow Fridays at 5
Signing
p.m.
his mark.
and Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Score.
Where's he going?
Now, for those of you who are interested in poker, we got something for you as well. All right?
Ray 3.
Coming more this week on the network. Starting tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, we're going to cross the pond and join our friends over at the European Poker Tour.
But it was just one of those things where I just kept telling myself, just keep talking, keep going.
That's all the time for me, Rick Torelli, in the Scores HD studio. You can check back with us at the top of the hour for your next Gillette Drafted 2 sports update.
All right, so we're going to do a nice big quiet on the set, and then we're going to hold just to get her anxiety up a little bit more.
When I was watching in the room, I thought Casey did as close to a flawless run through as you can.
Don't forget, this Monday Raw comes to us from Music City, Nashville, USA. John Cena and Randy Orton take on Sheamus and Edge in a main event tag team match.
I actually think I did really well. I felt really good afterwards. I didn't stumble on any words. I hit all my marks, which I know some people didn't.
The Score update has been brought to you by the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, turning shaving into gliding.
I definitely think like I did the best that I could.
Just let her walk, let her walk, let her walk. Ready, 5. Take 5.
I was pretty confident going into it, and the fact that I'm used to being on camera and used to speaking with the wrestling background.
The superstars of SmackDown are on the air Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific for the first ever Big Show and Rey Mysterio tag team steel cage match.
And again, I just tried to emphasize certain things like the steel cage match, and I went, when we did about the poker, it was the $1 million poker challenge, or something, you know, and I tried to bring in the entertainment value to it.
And remember to stay jacked.
Ready, 2, take.
But for my first read on the teleprompter, I think it went well.
You know, being nervous is a normal thing, but of course, for those that did well in the first challenge, I don't think they felt as much pressure. Don't forget, this Monday, Raw comes from us from Music City, Nashville, USA, John Cena and Randy Orton. Take on Sheamus and Edge in a
Ready,
main event.
2, he's gonna walk, hopefully. Go 2, take.
If you mess up, you gotta continue, because like, let's say for example, that was live television. You're not gonna see a sportscaster or someone hosting an award show or whatever just stop and kind of just like walk off. Like when you're going to the second point, you're like walking towards the camera and the camera's a bit further away. So it's kind of hard to read because the screen is so small. Sorry. Fighting action, the score has for you. Best place to get all your mixed martial arts news is on the MMA show with Mario Ronaldo.
The hardest thing for me yesterday was watching Kareem do his teleprompter, because no one's gonna see how energetic he is. Just going out with him for 1 week, spending time with him, the guy, he wants to show his energy, and like no one expected that.
Oh my God, like I was nervous. I walked in, just touched my marks, made sure I knew where I had to go, and then I just did my thing.
I'm Gillette drafted 2 hopeful Lonnie V. Schwartz in the Scores HD studio with your sports update. The superstars of SmackDown are on the air Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific for the first time ever.
I was looking at that screen, saw the turn, bang, next cue point, there. Next cue point, bang.
That's all from me, Lonnie V. Schwartz, on the Scores HD studio. Meet me back here, top of the hour, for your next Gillette Drafted 2 sports update, and may the Schwartz be with you.
I'd like to say I killed it. I had to hit a home run. I had not let them know what had happened the entire day. They knew something was up.
So finally, after the teleprompter challenge, he kind of said to us, you guys have no idea what I've been through today.
We kind of knew that it was going to be, it had something to do with confidentiality.
Apparently there was a breach. Lonnie's denying it. There's obviously got to be something.
We got to face the facts. If somebody calls in and says, Lonnie told me he's in the top 10, there's a good chance that he said something he shouldn't have.
This is a privilege to have this experience and to be one of the top 10 finalists. And I personally wouldn't want to do anything to possibly jeopardize that.
It's a thing where every one of us could have said something to the wrong person, but we didn't.
Not everybody's believing Lonnie right now.
It felt good to know that everybody kind of had my back on this one.
All right, so we've seen the challenges. Little drama on day 1. I want to get your take. So tell me first, let's start. Sid, you were there. You were at the trivia challenge. What did you think?
I think everyone did okay. No one blew the first question. I was freaking out that someone would blow the first question.
The teleprompter challenge. Let's start with Andrew. Kat, what did you think of Andrew?
Andrew, maybe it's because I speak with my hands, but he just kind of stood there almost like he was in a jacket, and he just felt like he couldn't move. He was like in a block of ice, and only his face was, the only thing not frozen. Maybe it was nerves, but he just looked so uncomfortable, like talking.
All right, Rick. Rick really struggled. He came out, what happened was he lost his mark. Once he lost his mark, he couldn't get back on track. He seemed to be doing okay in terms of communicating and not just reading. I found a lot of guys were just reading. He wasn't. He seemed to be getting the message across. But once he missed his mark, Sid, it was over.
The kid needed a GPS. He was lost. But I have to hand it to him. He kept going.
The problem I had with Kareem is very similar to Rick, where Kareem just got lost at one point, but I almost felt like he gave up.
In his head, he was just like, he thought that he failed already, and you could see him just kind of fall apart there, and he just couldn't recover from it.
I'll tell you about Austin. Of all the people, that was the one that was the most memorable to me. And if I need somebody to cut a WWE promo, Austin is clearly going to be that guy.
And Greg, with your permission, I would like to flex at the end of all my on-cameras and hold it for 5 seconds.